What's going on? Thanks for checking in. Got a very unique video for you today. We have #1 player in the country right now, Jacob Lombard, and we have the mastermind behind this kid's build.
My name is Robert Fajardo. I'm based out of Miami, Florida. Kind of how me and Jacob linked up was I did an internship with the Dodgers. I was a strength guy in the AZL, and I met his dad, and we kind of made the Miami connection through there. And then when I came down here for the offseason, I met Jacob when he was about 7th grade, and been on there from there on out.
So what are you guys gonna show for us today, right? We got a workout routine, basically. Think about per time of year, what we're talking about. Jake's going into his official first off season because they explained to me that normally he would end, the summer baseball scene and then go to soccer. So this is the first season where he is, or the first off season rather, where he's really dialing in on his development. What can we do physically? What tool can we add to his toolbox? And you can discuss this too, like what do you need in order to achieve that this upcoming draft?
First thing I would do is probably get him on the force plates and then see how, if he's a little lopsided, if everything's symmetrical.
Okay.
And then from there, kind of get an eval on his body, internal, external, of the hips, shoulders, all of that, T-spine. And then build the program based off his needs off of that.
Yeah.
And then from there, kind of first 4 weeks will probably be like an introduction. Very simple, getting him back into the gym, not trying to do anything too crazy, but a lot of like isometrics, stiffen a lot of his tendons and his ligaments again, since he's not used to the lifting. And then we'll probably get into a strength phase, and then after that, get into a speed power phase, and then speed strength, kind of like that's how I set it up.
Yeah, you gotta remember the time of the video, right? Literally the season just ended today, like an hour ago. He was out on Marlins Park, taking photos, holding a trophy for MVP. So they haven't even got their baseline assessments yet. That's the first step. That's the first step in every good program. It's not cookie cutter. You got to see what the kid needs. You got to see their asymmetries and attack those. That's, the best way, right? You can't go out and do a cookie cutter program. So that's awesome that you always start with an assessment, right? So that's why you were able to specialize programming for him, and his brother over there as well. Real quick, now's the time to get on a good program. It's fall ball. You can get on a good one, and it's gonna give you plenty of time to turn heads when you show up after winter break and enter the spring season. But your time is running out. If you want a good program to add whatever tool you need to your toolbox, I'm talking exit velo, throwing velocity, decreasing your 60-yard dash, simply throwing on muscle mass, filling out the sleeves in the batter's box, we got you. Try out my new SummersMethod Plus app. There's 11 total programs in there to add whatever tool to your toolbox you need, and you can start for a month completely free. Click the link in the description to start that free month trial. Appreciate you. Now back to the video. Let's dive in today. Let's go over a typical split. You can talk here how many days per week you're planning on working this off season.
I'm a big believer in sprinting.
Yeah.
I think what a lot of baseball players don't do is they don't sprint enough. So we'll do a lot of resisted sprints before. We'll have an acceleration day, and we'll base off what we're doing sprinting, compare that into the weight room. So kind of like if we're doing an acceleration day, kind of be a single trap bar deadlift day probably.
Okay.
Or a single leg or Bulgarian, something like that. And we're gonna pair that with like our consecutive broad jumps, resisted broad jumps, med ball throws, overhead med ball throws, stuff like that, where we're getting hip extension, really focusing on that. And then let them rest for like 48 hours. And then the next day will probably be a top end speed day. And we'll focus more on kind of like quarter squats, step ups, kind of stuff where we're not getting so much into deep hip extension, but we're still trying to be powerful and strong in the weight room.
Yeah. Good joint ankles, specificities type stuff.
Yeah.
I like how, you talk about lining up with his sprint days.
Yeah.
That's really important. And that, because obviously what's one of the most important things out there, how fast you are,
yeah,
right? And, precursor to injury, right? Best thing you can do for hamstring issues is to sprint multiple times a week. So I like that approach where you kind of auto-regulate training based on, your sprint days. That's very smart. Yeah, something I might steal too, to be honest with you.
I'm a big believer in sprinting. I think a lot of kids don't do it enough, in the sense of, you could ask him, like, we're not just trying to move heavy weight, we're trying to move weight fast.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of athletes, especially kids, they just want to come in the weight room and lift heavy, but they need to understand movement quality, then you can start loading the bar.
Sprinting too, sprinting is a skill, just like hitting, just like throwing.
Exactly.
Right, like I feel like there's a big gap. Like the fastest guys out there too, they're training basically like sprinters.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to
skill.
do. I'm not coming in the weight room, and yes, he is a baseball player. Yes, we're going to do rotational stuff, but at the same aspect, I still want him to be an athlete, because the athlete's going to develop into the baseball player way better.
All right, let's dive into it. Let's see what we got. From the naked eye, looks like a little PAP cluster. Got some, strength work into some more ballistic plyometric work. What's the method behind the madness with this?
Really what we're just doing is, I just got him going single leg eccentric, so just focusing on the eccentric, 4 seconds on the way down. Single leg, and I'm just gonna pair that with the lateral plyometric, just him just trying to be quick and explosive off the ground. That's pretty much it. What I'll do after this is probably mix in like a little core exercise. So it'll probably be his strength, plyo, and then we'll go a little core. And then we'll probably do about 3 to 4 sets, depending on how he's feeling that day. And then we're just really trying to hammer, controlling the movement on the way down, controlling the concentric, and then just mastering that in the plyometric and just being explosive. Yeah, so we'll usually do this on a Kaiser machine, but since we don't got that today, we'll just kind of make way with what we got, and we'll kind of do the same anti-rotational core. We'll always get one of those in, maybe one of those or two in the workout, but he's just gonna do a simple half kneeling cable lift here, and that'll be his core exercise. Good, so all we're trying to do is focus on the eccentric, right? Keep the core tight, glute engage, right? Simple half kneeling lat pull down, adding a little rotational aspect to it. Just trying to really focus on the eccentric. Same thing, just pull down, slow, fast on the way in, slow on the way out. But it's pretty much what we're trying to do. Just give me 4 each side. Land with that foot straight. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, so all we're trying to do, right? Different planes of motion, working the frontal plane, good movement. But with him, it's just really trying to stay athletic. So we really hammer the frontal plane a lot, especially in the weight room. We're not just trying to be up and down, we want to be an athlete, so it's a lot of multi-directional lunges. We're just doing a regular physio ball rollout, really thinking about keeping his core engaged, core tight, back nice and flat. Just trying to work the core in different planes of motion. Yeah, get that leg there. But hips up, core engaged. All we're doing is a physio ball leg curl, trying to work the hamstring. Really focusing on the way out, controlling the eccentric part of the movement. Yeah, so all we're really focusing, right? Getting a horizontal row in, but trying to get some rotation in there at the same. He's just rotating into his front hip, just coming out of it. Good, don't move that front foot, just the back foot. There you go. What we just did was something we'll do similar post-game lift. Just to really focus on the eccentric parts of the movement, get some rotation in, right? A lot of single leg stuff, not really trying to load the body too much right now because you just finished playing. So really just trying to get our bang for our buck in here, really focus on the eccentrics, on everything we're doing, and that's pretty much it. A lot of single leg work, little single arm pulls, single arm presses, that's pretty much it.
That's very good advice, right? You don't need to overdo it, especially after a long season, after a long game today. Did the home run derby, traveling, everything like that. It's a lot of the times I like to say is what bucket is not being filled, right?
Yeah.
So this workout probably realistically will take 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in here for 2 hours, loading up all these different machines, 5, 6 sets, heavy stimuluses, right? You just need to hit your bread and butter to keep yourself going. Now that he is in the off season, after you guys go ahead and do your assessment, he can tailor it a little bit more, get more dialed in, and really have a keen focus. But if you're treating this like an in-season after a long game, he's still trying to get work in, that's what it's about. What bucket's not being filled? So it's brilliant, man. That's the difference between training for baseball, being a baseball player and elite athlete, and just coming to the gym working out. That's why it's important with whatever it is, make sure you get a good coach. He got this cat at 7th grade, and look what he turned into. The earlier you dial in your training regimen, the earlier you get with a professional, better off you're gonna be. Because what typically happens, you'll go in, start learning moves the wrong way. When you're more susceptible to learning, now you're gonna carry those bad habits throughout your high school career. You don't wanna do that. You wanna start off the right way. Build the foundation first. That's why you guys at Situation, you know, it's a dream come true. Guy knows his stuff for sure. What's where can they find you? Instagram, YouTube page, or whatever?
My Instagram, just Robert Fajardo _26. Yeah, just shoot me a follow or request and come along for the journey.
All right, and then stay tuned for this cat, this upcoming July. Game rewards the grind. It knows how much you've invested.